some protocols for smooth conduct of this session. All the participants are requested to switch off their videos and mute themselves. Queries from participants will be taken at the end in the question and answer session. You can drop your questions in the chat box during the session. Kindly fill the feedback form, the link for which will be shared in the chat box towards the end of the session. We request your cooperation in conducting the session smoothly. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Simran Rathi, a core member of NSS Shivaji College, welcome you all to this webinar on Ayurveda and lifestyle, organized by National Service Scheme Shivaji College. In Sanskrit, Ayurveda means the science of life. Ayurvedic knowledge originated in India more than 5,000 years ago and is often called the mother of all healing. In today's modern technological age, Ayurveda continues to grow rapidly as one of the most important systems of holistic mind-body medicine and natural healing, as the need for disease prevention, natural therapies, and a more spiritual approach to life become even more important. Through this webinar, the NSS unit of Shivaji College wants to raise awareness about Ayurveda and the importance of healthy lifestyle. I would now like to welcome Dr. B.S. Prasad, sir, with a virtual bouquet as a token of gratitude for agreeing to conduct today's event on such an important topic. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would request our faculty member, Mr. Pranav Bora, sir, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, all. I, Pranav Bora, on behalf of NSS Shivaji College, would like to welcome Professor B.S. Prasad to our webinar on Ayurveda and lifestyle. Professor Prasad is the President of the Board of Ayurveda, National Commission for Indian System of Medicine. He has accomplished and achieved great heights in Ayurveda, over 30 years of experience in various fields like clinical practice with super specialization in male infertility, Ayurveda research, teaching, medicine manufacturing, and administration. Professor Prasad has held distinguished positions as member of Ayush Committee, National Education Policy, and he has also been the Director, Principal, and Dean of KLE University's Sri DMK Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belagavi. Along with this, he has held numerous other honorary positions. He has published more than 70 articles and delivered more than 200 scientific deliberations all over the world, including the States, Japan, and Indonesia. Professor Prasad has also received many prestigious awards such as Ayurveda Ratna in 2008, Best Teacher Award for the year 2012 to 13, Ayurveda Sri Samman in 2013, Teacher of the Teachers Award in 2014. He was also honored with the Best Scientist Award for the year 2018 by the KLE University, Belagavi, Karnataka. We are indeed very honored to have such an eminent personage amongst us. Both our students and faculty members have been eagerly awaiting for your session. At this juncture, I would also like to thank our dear principal, Professor Shiv Kumar Sahdev, for supporting us in conducting today's webinar. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over the mic to Professor Prasad to start the session. Please, sir.
Good evening to all of you. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Pranav Bora, who was instrumental in arranging this talk. He was behind me. So many times I told I'm very, very busy. I can't do it and I can suggest somebody. But he was very particular about only, no, I want you to deliver the lecture. It was able to materialize today. And after having 2-3 postponements, I think it was a schedule. Somehow today to materialize it. I thank him for his constant efforts. And also I see a lot of enthusiastic students Even Dr. Simran was very energetically given the opening, opened that one. So rightly, she is doing a lot of service, and is a right way. She doing the NSS activities. Also, Dr. Ashwini is there. I can see her, and all the administration and the officials, the principal, etc. I must thank the organization for the keen interest in arranging such lectures on. So let me go to the topic today, Ayurveda and lifestyle. Of course, I made very broad outline of the system because system is very big. It can't be dealt in 1 hour, etc. But to the extent how simplified I can do it, I simplified it. And also again, students maybe require in their age group what is required. In that sense, I have brought some tips for them. Let us see, and you can have discussion at the end. I will share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Visible. Okay. So this is the Ayurveda and lifestyle, and the middle is our commission logo. And then the Sanskrit line, if you see, Pranabhisarha Pranayatananam. That means we are here to produce a skillful doctors who can save the life. That is our slogan for our commission. Anyway, when the man is not knowing how to live, how to eat, etc., and even they know social life, or they don't know culture or the living things, they don't know how to eat their food, they prepare their food, etc. That time itself, Indian subcontinent, and we have rishis, we drafted the science, we scripted the literature, and you can see the whole medical literature we can broadly divide into codified, non-codified. Codified in the sense which has been written documents are there. This Ayurveda, allopathy, homeopathy, this all documented literature. This becomes under codified medical system, medical science, and where the tribal folklore practices, the traditional practices which has not been documented, that could a non-codified system. So this Ayurveda is the first codified medical system of the entire universe. So that way, when the world is not knowing how to speak, how to dress, etc., we could able to write textbooks or the big lexicons in the science. And then we have universities that time, maybe Takshashila, Nalanda, then Ratnagiri, then Vikramashila, Pushpagiri, likewise. They're all universities being run that time in the India, and we have medical schools were there, which is offering the medical education to the entire world. And then we also contribute to the development of Vijnani system, Chinese system. Likewise, what all the medical sciences are there in the entire world, the roots are being from the Ayurveda taken place. Even the surgery, the father of surgery, the Susruta is the father of surgery, who is our Ayurveda scientist or surgeon who developed even the plastic surgery also. He reconstructed the nose, reconstructed the ears. Likewise, he is the father of surgery. He also father of even the plastic surgery, which is very advanced surgery, cosmetic surgery in the present days. So we have offered the roots for entire medical system of the world. The Ayurveda, how they took base. Ayurveda believes human being is a miniature of universe. We all of you might have heard Andapinda Brahmanda, the theory of a very ancient theory. So whole universe is a miniature of universe. Human being contains every element of the universe in a minute form. So we are replica of the entire university. So when any imbalance happens in the outside world, similarly imbalance happens in the inside the body also, and hence we have solution from the outside itself because it is a replica of the universe. So we need to observe the nature, and then nature gives every solution because we are the replica of the university. That was the universe. That was the basic principles of Ayurveda. Everything is available in the universe, and we have to observe them, learn them, adopt them for our benefit. So that is the basic fundamental principle of Ayurveda. Well, this human being is the miniature of universe, a replica of the universe. We have everything in the body. And another one is there. We all have heard the Pancha Mahabhuta theory. So we have earth, water, sky, etc., we have shown the example of earth as our the earth will be showing the what is called the bhumi panch mahabhutas, the water, earth, etc. And they are not the actual the mahabhutas, they are in subtle form, they are not non-perceivable form. So we give the example of water as a water, jala as a water, prithvi as the earth, etc., which is not an appropriate one. So they are the before the formation of matter itself. This means matter is formed, the atom is the form basic unit. But before matter formation, the atom formation, the energy was there. So that time onwards, it starts Panchamabhuta theory itself. So the Panchamabhuta theory itself speaks about formation of atom itself. So we are wrongly showing the sky as the Akash Mahabhuta, wind as the Vayu Mahabhuta, earth as the Prithvi Mahabhuta, which is a wrong thing. But it is the actually elemental theory or atom theory before that formation itself we have to talk about. These are the fundamental principles. Now, most of us will not be knowing, are there any specialties in Ayurveda? We think Ayurveda is only one science. But when you see thousands of years back, Ayurveda used to maintain 8 specialties. The specialty practice is not new to the Ayurveda. It was initiated by Ayurveda itself. There was Kaya Chikitsa, the internal medicine or general medicine, what we call present days. Kaumara Bhrutya, there's obstetrics and pediatrics, and then Shalya Tantra, surgery, Shalakya Tantra, ophthalmology and ENT, then Bhuta Vidya, clinical microbiology, clinical pathology, psychology, and psychiatry. Now we have seen the COVID pandemic. Many people think that Ayurveda was not told the pandemic, etc. But Ayurveda well described. But the one thing is we have now virus, the names, etc. there. But there we have Pishacha, Rakshasa, Grahades. It is being wrongly attributed as a devil, demon, etc. But they are not the right way. They are all microbes. Where a lot of microbes has been described it. They have told even favorable microbes and unfavorable microbes also. There are microbes which are favorable to the body. There are microbes which are unfavorable to the body also. Like with these are all microbes actually. Though the Bhuta Vidya was wrongly attributed in between time, we lost the science and it became the wrong concepts or the black magic is become. But actually it is the clinical microbiology. Then Vishachikitsa, how to treat the poisons, the clinical toxicology. Then Rasayana, the rejuvenative medicine, how to prevent geriatric changes, to prevent old aging, how to maintain youthless for more time. So these are all the rejuvenative medicines, which is very, very advanced now. It is going to take it up a very fast way now. It is a worldwide, it is a very important branch now, the regenerative medicine. And then Vajikaranam, reproductive medicine and epigenetics. The designer babies, we are talking, designer babies. So this concept was there thousands of years back in our India, in Ayurveda. So how to get a baby of desired qualities that was being practiced at that time is called the branch of Vajikarana. So these are the 8 specialties, very broad specialties being practiced thousands of years back, and the concept has become continued. Now coming to what objectives of Ayurveda, what Ayurveda desires, what objectives. One is the here we can see the preservation or preventive and promotive health aspects, prevention and promotion of health or maintain health of healthy and promote health. The 2 aspects are there. And then management of disease. They are the 2 broad aspects. The first one is prevention and promotion, not only prevention and promotion also. And second one is if they can't able to prevent and promote, then it become disease, then treatment is there. So that way Ayurveda given importance for first prevention and promotion, then given the disease treatment of the disease. This again is the level of individual level, family level, community level, national level. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, this is universal health, the coverage. That was the concepts of Ayurveda there. So these are all in terms of lifestyle and diet, mental health, spiritual health, medical management, surgical management, panchakarma. These are the broad modalities of treatment which Ayurveda adopts, by which they can help in prevention or promotion of health or disease management. So these are the way how the Ayurveda looks of entire Ayurveda to the objectives of Ayurveda. Now what Ayurveda says is, a vehicle with a good qualities and driven on a good roads gets destroyed only after the expiry of its normal life. The same vehicle may subject to premature destruction in the event of heavy load, uneven road, driving in places where there is no road, etc. So they've given the similar example, how the vehicle, if you properly maintained, can have a good life, or a vehicle, if improperly maintained, with prematurely, it get destructed. Likewise, similarly, in the event of overstrain, eating in excess, irregular meals, irregular posture, injury, exposure to poisons, wind or fire, avoidance of food and medicines, or if afflicted with the disease but not treated properly, the life will we have premature end. We may die early or get diseased. So this is the way how Ayurveda, the Charaka Samhita, the Charakacharya, who was the great physician, he described with the vehicle, how we have to use the vehicle. Similar way, the human body has to be maintained appropriately. Otherwise, we may end in the premature death. So this is the caution, a very simple example given there. So how we have to maintain the health. Now we see here in the top, the table I have given 2005 rankings and 2016 rankings are there. Here when you see in the 2005, these are all infectious diseases are there, where there is more of infections are there, microbial, the health issues are there. That time, the people do not have the proper nutrition, hygiene was improper, etc., where the people are prone for infections. Now, when come to the now presently, the hygiene improved, education improved, socio-economic status improved, and people having good nutrition, and hence infections came into control. But because of false lifestyles, the lifestyle disorders are increasing in number now. We can see here, they're all taken their lifestyle disorders. Here, ischemic heart disease and diarrhea, these infections are there. Here now ischemic heart disease and COPD has come. So likewise, there is an alteration of the disease conditions where we have lifestyle disorders are increasing more in number now. Where we have Ayurveda is the best for lifestyle disorders. Here, these lifestyle disorders are increasing now. So where we have the best options can be adopted by Ayurveda. What Ayurveda says to maintain the life is, they have three danda, they say, three dandavat. One is ahara, there is food, then nidra, there is sleep, and brahmacharya, this is a lifestyle. These are the three pillars of a house. How the three pillars are important. Likewise, these three can maintain the life very well. So these called as trayopastambha. Any one pillar if we remove, the building collapse. So likewise, ahara, nidra, brahmacharya. So these three are given as very, very important there. Now I'll tell one I will take up in detail how we have to adopt each one. These three principles we remember and adopt it, we can have very good lifestyle. Now ahara, come to ahara. This is what Charaka states is, food is responsible for health and disease. So what we eat, you are what you eat. So what you are eating, because of that one, you can maintain health or you may land in the disease also. And then food and beverages taken right quantity, right time, right season, right manner, they maintain the health. Otherwise, it may land in the problem. So the statement is there, Bhojanam Mahabeshajam. Bhojana is the, Beshaja means here medicine. The Sanskrit name, Beshaja is the medicine. So Bhojanam is the Mahabeshaja, that means a major medicine. Food itself is a medicine. We need not have any other medicine if proper food is taken. That way, Ayurveda states, the food has been given very, very prime importance. We need to concentrate well on the food. So in terms of quantity, quality, and method of consuming. So when we talk about food, we have to follow three principles here: the quantity, quality, and method of consuming the food. These three are there. So we'll go one by one. The quantity, how much quantity we have to consume the food. So what the Ayurveda says is, you divide your stomach capacity into three parts. The bottom one is solids, 1/3, and 1/3 for liquids, and the 1/3 we have to leave for air. We should not eat it. So how we can measure it, that one? Many times we will feel when you taken more eating, we have abdominal pressure will be there. We can't be comfortable. So when we feel that we are going to stomach full, then we have to stop there. That way, we have to assess our stomach capacity. So in generally, now the present concept is there, 2 chapatis, 1 cup of rice, etc. It may vary individual to individual. So Ayurveda gives always individualized approach. What is suitable for you, your quantity, you have to assess it. So this is the best method of assessing. So we have to make stomach 3 parts, 1/3 for solids, 1/3 for liquids, and 1/3 for air. So this way we have to, in general, we have to measure and take the quantity. Now we can see here items. The quantity items is called as total items and then individual item also. We call here Sarvagraha, Parigraha. Sarvagraha is total serving size, total quantity, total consumption, how much we have to consume. And then individual item, in that total quantity, what should be the individual item size. So these two things we have to balance it now. So then we have to have the food to be taken as per your digestive capacity. As earlier we have shown 3 parts of the stomach. So it should be digestible for the next meal time. So suppose your meal time is 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. is the meal time. So whatever breakfast you have consumed it should be digested by 1 p.m. and you should get hunger. So that is the right quantity for you. There is no question of 5 chapatis or 2 idlis or 5 idli, 2 dosa, etc. It is not the quantity. So the quantity which digested by 1 o'clock or next meal time, so that is a suitable quantity for you. Or afternoon meal, whatever you have taken, that should be digested by the night meal. Night 8 to 8 p.m. you are taking the meal, night meal. By 8 o'clock, it should be digested. So that is called the right quantity for you. It should be an individual. Some people may take more quantity, some may less quantity, but we have to measure ourselves and we have to observe it and we have to quantify ourselves how much we require, depending on the digestion power. So how we know that when we have taken right quantity? So right quantity will subside our thirst and hunger. Whatever you have taken, if your hunger and thirst is subsided, there is one way, right quantity. Then does not exert any pressure on the sides of the chest. So in the abdomen, chest, etc. Sometimes you can't laugh. Somebody is making a joke, but you can't laugh because you have taken full stomach quantity. So you say, don't make me laugh, I can't laugh it now. Likewise. And then does not leave feeling of excessive heaviness in the abdomen. And then able to perform activities such as standing, sitting, walking, exhaling, inhaling, laughing, and talking with ease. So that is the right quantity for you to be consumed with the food. I think all of you got the idea, I think. How much of the food is that to be taken? One is all these qualities, and second one is it should be digestible for the next meal time. So that is the ideal quantity for you. It will be individualized it. There is no question of half kilo or 1 kilo, 100 grams, 200 grams, etc. It should be an individualized approach should be there. Now, rules for consumption of food. What are the rules you have to follow it? One is it should be twice daily. That was the recommended food the consumptions. Now, after Britishers came, we had the breakfast and the lunch and supper. We have systems, but olden days it was a twice a day. The 2 meals a day is the only recommended food item consumptions for we had the practice. But now, because of after British invaders, we have introduced the concept of breakfast and then lunch and supper is there. Anyway, now we have habitual 3 items. We can have 3 meals, the schedules, but provided the quantity should be sufficient to get digested the next meal time. And then water intake. There are theories are there. You have to take before or after, etc. But Ayurveda says it should be taken along with food only, not before food, not after food. As and when you consume food, a small quantities of water to be consumed so that it can mix up very well. It can the digestion process will be ease for the body also. And then take wholesome food timely and habitually. Wholesome means here which is suitable for you, which has been traditionally being practiced for generations. Whatever grandma food, that is the best food for us to have. The region wise, in go to Kerala, the Karnataka end part, the coastal area, they take coconut oil. Go to Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, etc., they take mustard oil. Go to the middle part of the India, they take groundnut oil. Likewise, area wise, region wise, they have their own food habits are there. So they have come in terms of because of their geographical conditions, the food habits has been evolved there. They are the best suited food habits. So we should follow the grandma's principles there. That is the best thing for us. And then eat warm food in proper quantity. Always fresh food in the right quantity. Quantity, as I already told. Then eat after previous consumed food is digested. So whenever you feel indigestion, give a pause, take hot water, give 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, then automatically your body will digest that one and you will be ready for the food items. Otherwise, it is given the overeating, then even the previous minimum digestive power existing, that also will be disturbed there. Example given is a small fire. If you put more anything on that one heavily, it will put off totally. If you add little quantities, again, it can ignite more and you can make a bigger fire. Similar way, we have to give the body rest in case of indigestion and give hot water and body will digest it. And after that, again, you can recover that. Consume in favorable place with favorable accessories. You have to be a comfortable place, so not with dirty place, etc. And then with favorable accessories, whatever you require, maybe plate, etc., whatever things are. Otherwise, what happens? A contamination comes. We compromise that one. So we can't eat comfortably. So you should arrange the things appropriately before you start for the eating. Eat not too fast, not too slow, not while talking or laughing, etc., not by watching TV, etc. We have to give a full concentration on what you are eating. So concentrate on the food, chew properly, enjoy properly, taste properly, and have a pleasant mind. So we should not have different things. Somebody is fighting, somebody murdering, something else happening there. So likewise, different the feelings. We should not take the food. You should not watch TV likewise. So we have to have full concentration. Pleasant mind is very important there. Otherwise, the biological the changes happens in the body that can have its own effect on the body also when we are taking food. Now, second point, sleep. So sleep is a very, very important factor again. We should have sufficient quantum of sleep. We call as wear and tear mechanism. So body in the daytime, you have given a lot of activities, exertion, etc. There is a damage happens and body repairs during sleep. So we need to provide sufficient sleep for the body so that body will take its own repairing system in the sleep. So sleep is very, very important for the body to get rejuvenated and repairing wear and tear mechanism. So now sleeps, what happens? Happiness or misery, nourishment, emaciation, strength or weakness, virility, passivity, knowledge, ignorance, life and death. Likewise, all depends on sleep. Either you have positive effects or you have negative effects. If you follow appropriately a good sleep, you get positive effects. If you don't sleep, don't follow it a good sleeping habits, you may end in the miseries in the life. That way, sleep is very important. So here we have some differences there. So we always tell about constitution. We classify the human beings into Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, Kapha Prakriti, etc. as a body constitution. Some of you might have heard it. So as per Prakriti, the sleeping pattern or sleeping habits may change. For example, Vata Pitta Prakriti, here I have shown, they have less duration. They may be maximum 6 hours they will sleep, not more than 6 hours. They'll be alert again while sleeping. They will not have very deep sleep. They'll be always alert. Even a small sound, something, they get up easily. And then the early awakening, maybe 6:30 they'll get up from the bed. They don't sleep late hours there. So that is the habit of these people. And while going bed, they'll be going bed early. Maybe 10 o'clock, 10 to 11 o'clock, they had to go to bed. They'll be sleepy there. There is habit of Vata and Pitta Prakriti. Whereas it comes to Kapha Prakriti, they have long duration. Minimum 8 hours they want to sleep. Before that, they won't get up. If they make a forceful get up, they'll be very drowsy on that day. And the sleep will be deep for them. They'll have very deep sleep. And then late awakening. They go to late bed and they'll have a late awakening. So they may get up maybe after 8 a.m. only. They'll be Vata Pitta Prakriti people may get up 6:30, or these people may be 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Likewise, their sleeping habits will be vary from the person to person, or Prakriti wise they can vary it. So why I'm telling this is, so when we have this type of things, we need to observe ourselves and we have to alter our habits like this only. But everybody cannot have get up by same time alarm, etc. Cow Prakriti people may little bit late getting better for them. They'll go late bed and late getting up. Why we don't get sleep? Now it is very common. Some people say sleep also. One is fear, anxiety, anger. Your exams are announced it. You naturally don't get sleep, or you have some fear, some anxiety. You are very angry on somebody. Some quarrel happened. You don't get sleep, or TV, mobile before bed. What happens when you have radiation? When you see the mobile or TV watching after having before bed, the radiation spoils our drowsiness. So you don't get the drowsiness, then it will be very difficult to get sleep again. Then exposure to dust or smoke. Some people have habit of smoking coffee, tea at the bedtime. They don't get sleep easily again. And then some are fasting or hunger. You don't have, you not taken food properly, or you are fasting. Then also you may disturb sleep, or your bed is not comfortable. Then either exercise, either nil or over exercise, heavily done also. Exercise is so important there. Even you can see one a simple example I give here in terms of exercise. The person who was totally sedentary life, he lie down on the bed, very comfortable bed, maybe air conditioned room, so much of things, everything, but still don't get the sleep. If you observe a labor who works from since morning to evening, he don't, by the moment he lie down, he going to sleep. So that gives it a clue for us. That means a sufficient amount of exercise is very important to get the sleep. So we need to have a exercise as recommended, etc. And then old age, definitely some old age people naturally they don't get sleep. And then some people are working at night. These are the factors which will disturb our sleep there. So we need to observe them, overcome them, and have a good sleep so that we can have a good health. Daily you can have fresh. How we can assess that I had a good sleep? So morning when you get up from the bed, you feel fresh from the body, and you have digested, and you have natural evacuation of the bowels very clearly. So this indicates that you have a good sleep. Otherwise, you have to observe your problem, and then you have to modify it, and then have a good sleep so that you can have a good health. Then come to brahmacharya. This is a very important concept. Most of you might be knowing that brahmacharya means celibacy. That means not of the sexual life, but it is not sexual life. It is the code of conduct or prescribed healthy lifestyle. You can say brahmacharya. The people wrongly attributed brahmacharya to sexual celibacy. It is not at all sexual celibacy. It is prescribed lifestyle. So what if the code of conduct? I can say that one. Again, code of conduct is different for different people. Students different, married people different, old age people different, brahmacharya is different. Brahmacharya means sannyas is different. Likewise, it depends on the, just like we have code of conduct for employees, all some other people, like students were different. So this is the code of conduct which we are supposed to follow it. Actually, Brahma means knowledge, Charya means style or lifestyle actually. The activities to get the knowledge, that is called brahmacharya. So it indicates waking up early morning. The early morning means, again, as I told, as per Prakriti, they can adjust their little bit of waking up times, attending natural urges properly, and then periodical oil or herbal powder massage they done, because as per constitution, some people have oily skin, they have to go for herbal powder massage. And some people have dry skin, they'll go for oil massage. So everybody cannot have oil massage. So it can be as per the skin texture or the skin nature, they can have either oil massage or powder massage. And then regular and appropriate exercise. Exercise also, as I told earlier, very important. But how to know that what is the quantum of exercise suitable for you? So what Ayurveda says is, till you get sweat on forehead, you can do exercise. We call Ardhabala Vyayama. All individuals approach. We say the modern point of view, go for 3 kilometers walk, 5 kilometer walk, 15 minutes you do this one, that one. So that way Ayurveda will not tell. Ayurveda tells everybody have their own capacity. It is individual capacity is there. So that how to assess that one? When you get sweat on forehead, that is the desired exercise quantum for you. You can do exercise. When moment you get appear the sweat on the forehead, you can stop exercise. So that is the quantum recommended for you. And then bath twice. Generally, bath now we take many times once day a day, but is recommended for twice a day. That is the ideal way. Bath is very important. It gives a lot of good qualities. The bath, and then recommended lifestyle sadvrutta. That means that all together, what way we can have the lifestyle to be followed. Maintain positivity and spirituality. And spirituality here is not meant that always you have surrender to the God always helps a lot for us. When you have surrender to the God, you have positivity. You leave off your anxiety, etc. The moment you surrender to the God, okay, then you get a lot of spiritual strength. You get the mentally, and then always you have positive thinking is very important. Positivity, and then respect to elders and well wishers. Hair and nail trimming thrice a fortnight. That means at most every week you have to trim your nails, etc. Hairstyle as in the common practice. Now we can see the lot of hairstyles are going on happening. Very people are spending time only on the hairstyles only. So but a common practice should be there. A cheerful with gentle attire, wear untorn clothes. The cloth should be proper. But I don't know now many people are just like a beggars. They wear cloths of torn cloths. We purchase torn cloths now. And I don't know whether they have purchased from the dustbin you have taken it, or some people are wearing those cloths very fashionably. We don't know why they wear the torn cloths. We don't know. But Ayurveda recommends untorn cloths they wear properly. Face pleasantly in difficult situations. In difficulties we get it, but we have to face it with courage and pleasantly. And then help persons in dire situations. Those who are in distress, those who are in problem, we have to help them for the situations. One second, be on the line. Yes, I'm sorry for the discontinuity. Some official urgent work is there. And then help persons in disaster situation. Those who are maybe friends, relatives, or somebody, we need to help them in their difficult situations. It is very, very important too. And then that helps a lot for you. You also feel that you have done something good thing for the life, and your mental strength will increase, your positivity increase. That helps a lot for you. So we need to help for others too in their difficult situations. And then speak timely and calculatively. How much to speak out, that much only. And always sweet words, they're good words, meaningful words. And then should be self-controlled and virtuous, free from anxiety, fear, shy, be enthusiastic. Always we have to be enthusiastic, ready to take responsibilities, ready to for works, etc. Not to be lazy. Always, oh, this again, oh, the work is given, we should not do it. Especially NSS students, we should be very enthusiastic to responsibility, take responsibility, social activities, etc. We should be skillful. We should not neglect any skill. We have, though we may be in somebody may be engineering, somebody may be going to medicine, etc. But we have to ready to adopt any skill, which is always important there. Then avoid contaminated places. So unnecessarily don't go here and there places. Be compassionate to all living beings. We should have the living beings. Actually, one way when we have traditions, we in the houses we may have dog, cat, and they all many animals will be there. And this is saying the all our ancestors will follow that. Before they take food, they feed them and then they take food there. This is a very scientific meaning in that one. So animals behave because earlier the all kings, etc. There is always problem of toxic poisoning them. So the enemies will poison them. So how to find out they poison, etc. So that the practice has come. They give food to the animals first. Animals will behave differently. Each animal, how the cat behaves, how the dog behaves, how the peacock behaves, they have been mentioned very clean Ayurveda. Even poisoned food, a dog will not touch it at all. So that way, it is a testing of the food, what they given. So that way it has become practice there. And in the end, no attachment or aversion. We should not have too much attachment and too much aversion to anything there. We should have a balanced thinking between all the items. Then we have the mental problems will not arise that one. When you have affection, we have problem. You don't get it, we have problem. They likewise, etc. Then what are health promotional activities we have to follow it. So this all dinacharya is called daily regimen. As I told, when to get up, what to do all these ones, a daily regimen, and Rutucharya, seasonal regimen. Now all of you might have seen now, whenever we have some season changes, we have common cold and fever comes there, viral fevers comes here, etc. going and coming there. And people tells it. So we have the season changing, I got this one. So then this called Rutu Sandhi. Ayurveda says the conjunction period from one season to another season, how to shift it. So that period we have to be little careful and not go to any extremes and not to experiment, etc. A regular healthy food if you take, and season can be passed on to another season. That way we can do it. And also Ayurveda gives some health tips for that one. For example, now it is the Sharad Rutu. The Ayurveda says go for Panchakarma, Virechana Karma, so that the whole 6 month season will be very healthy. And similarly, in the month of again, the winter goes, summer starts, the Vasanta Rutu, there you have to go for Vamana, and again 6 months can be very healthy, can be maintained. So that way, Ayurveda gives a seasonal regimen also, which season, how to live that one, how to put clothing, what type of food to be taken, is all well described for each season. And then Prakriti based lifestyle, as I told, Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, Kapha Prakriti, etc. So we need to have individualized lifestyle as per our Prakriti, because it demands a special attention now to that one. And then more and above, you can have the Rasayana, that means the rejuvenative medicines. And then Panchakarma, as I told, Vamana and Virechana. Likewise, these procedures can be adopted to have healthy life, the health promotion activities. These are the health promotional activities which you can adopt it. Rasayana, as earlier I told, what is Rasayana means what? So daily intake of milk and ghee is very good, but presently milk, okay, some people will take, but ghee, because of the oil mafia, they spoiled our ghee image. They totally spoiled, ruined it, ghee. But ghee is a very excellent one for health, and the Ayurveda always recommends ghee to be taken in sufficient quantities. So one can adopt the ghee intake regularly. It helps a lot for us. And then follow code of conduct, as I already given a code of conduct to be followed it. And then rejuvenative medicines we can select for Prakriti based, as Vata Prakriti, what medicine, Pitta Prakriti, what medicine. This can be taken by the help of the Ayurveda doctor can take. Again, we have organ specific. Some people, for example, they get the more of eye strain, computer watching more time. So they can have the especially drugs indicated for eye health. We call Netriya drugs, especially Amlaki, Indian gooseberry, that can be taken. There is a very good for eye cells. Likewise, we have few medicines, organ specific, brain specific. Those people study heavily. Some people prepare for entrance examinations. They overstrain their brains, etc. So they can have the Medhya Rasayanas, which can prolong or which can rejuvenate the brainy tissue or the nervous tissue. Then some are occupational specific. So people are the mentally strained, they can have Medhya Rasayana. Physically strained, they can have the which can have enhance the muscle strength. Likewise, each occupation wise, they can have the medicines for rejuvenative medicines. They are being described very well. One can consult and then take suggestion from the Ayurveda doctor. And then Panchakarma. So this is the face of the Ayurveda. I can say that Panchakarma is well known, very popular word in Panchakarma, well known. I'll give the what are the procedures, what is the meaning of that one. Now Pancha means 5. There are 5 procedures are there. One is here, Vamana, the therapeutic emesis, that is vomiting. We induce vomitings. And the Virechana, therapeutic purgation. It's all medicated, not a simple vomitings, etc. Is purgation is a therapeutic purgation. We make a person too suitable for that one. It is a 6 to 8 days procedure. It is not one day, only 1 day procedure. In Basti, the therapeutic enemas. These enemas are there. The 3 regimens are there. Yoga Basti, Kala Basti, Karma Basti. There's 8, 15 or 30 regimen is there. So depending on the disease severity and condition, a doctor will advise what regimen is suitable for them. And then Nasya, transnasal therapy, nasal drops. Even now we can have heard even the corona vaccination by through nasal spray, they're doing that one. So nasal route is a very, very strong route, very essential route, especially for the brain ailments. Nasal route is very suitable route. And then Rakta Mokshana, the bloodletting therapies. These are the 5 major therapeutic procedures which Ayurveda adopted as Panchakarmas. Apart from these, nearly 120 procedures are being administered under the name of Panchakarma. There are all many procedures are there, not only 5. Actually, Abhyanga, the massage is not Panchakarma, it is a part of Panchakarma that we shown. Even the previous, this is the Sirodhara. So this is not of, it is not actual Panchakarma, it is part of Panchakarma. Because Panchakarmas are the major 5 procedures are there. The rest all we call Upakramas or other procedures being called as Panchakarmas. So these procedures we can give for healthy also and for diseased also, and also for eradication of the root cause. We say always it can cure the condition. Root cause can be eradicated. So that way these panchakarmas can be employed. They are very unique technique. Only for Ayurveda it is available. No other system having such techniques. Now coming to COVID, as we are all well aware of that one. Whether people may think of whether Ayurveda described it or not. Not a COVID as such only, but Ayurveda have concept of Janapatodhamsa. It's called epidemics or pandemics. They're described under the name of Janapatodhamsa. This word is coined maybe 2000 years before only. And then what the reason they told is vitiation of or pollution of air, water, season, soil. So these are the major pollutants or vitiations. When air is vitiated, you may have get epidemics. It means airborne diseases, waterborne diseases, and seasons means we are seeing now the unseasonal activities, maybe floods comes there, the natural calamities comes there, etc. They also will cause problems. And then soil, by using of the pesticides, etc., soil also will be spoiled that one. So this way, these are the 4 major seasons for causing epidemics and pandemics to them. This one, and I will also given the various methods of air purification, water purification, soil purification, and even seasons we don't have any control in our hands though. So that way Ayurveda given the various measures also. When now the Ministry of Ayush has taken up very seriously, and the COVID-19 axis, the prophylaxis, management, and post-COVID management. So all these ones we have immune boosters, we have I-64, another drug, and Rasayanas all together they are being done now. When we're taking a public survey, the most of the public wanted now Ayurveda, they turned to Ayurveda now. We can see huge number of people opted for Ayurveda when the survey was being conducted there. So that way, so now Ayurveda being adopted well by the public also. Now coming to the students' point of view, some of you are maybe more students are beauty conscious. So what we can offer for you is skin and hair care. For skin toning and lustre, we have Abhyanga, that is massage with various oils, or those who have the loose skin. One second. Water. So for skin toning and lustre, we'll offer oil massages. Again, we have hundreds of oils are there. They're suitable for them, each skin differently. And Udvartana, there is powder massage, where we can, those who have a loose skin, etc., for toning, we can give the powder massage. Likewise, depending on the skin, we can select the treatment modality what we wanted. For acne, all other activities, skin problems also, we have various medicines are there. And then for hair care, we have hair packs are there. We call cassia, which can helpful for the cassia. One is the temporary coloring agents also there, but again for the hair fall, dandruff, and healthy hair, we have different medicines are there that can be given after having consultations. To improve the sports performance, some of you may be interested in the sports, they want to excel in the sports. So what we can do here for them is Rasayana to enhance physical endurance. As I told here, Rasayanam, maybe Ashwagandha, Kapikachu, Guduchi, ST Madhu. Likewise, we have several medicines are there. They will enhance the physical strength also. And then the oil massage, followed by yoga and marma therapy, marma manipulation. So they help a lot in flexibility, your endurance, your concentration. This all helps a lot to improvise your the sports performance can be improvised. And the posture problems now, because of computers, mobiles, etc., our postures we have. lot of strains are there, neck pain, all pains are there. So here yoga and Marma Chikitsa are there. Abhyanga and Grivabasti. Grivabasti means on the nape we can have a small tank type of a structure. There we can give the medicated oil will be kept there. And then Tarpana, that means eye treatments are there. And then eye drops also there. For all these purposes, we have different treatment modalities are there to overcome all these problems. And then to academic excellence, some of you may be preparing for competitive examinations. Then we can have major asayanas, Shirodhara, Shiro Abhyanga, etc. And then yoga and meditation. So this will be offered for those people who want that one. Likewise, for various purposes, we have different things are there. This is a full example I am giving here. So at the end, I can say that adopt Ayurveda and lead healthy life. This is the message I want to give to all of you. I thank all of you for your opportunity and also to speak to you for a few of the thoughts. I thank. If all some questions are there, I'll try to answer it. And then once again, I thank. I'll unshare this one. Let's see that. I stop sharing.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Yes,
such an
yes.
insightful session. Now, I would like to ask you the questions posed by our audience in the chat box. The first question is, sir, what are the common Ayurveda medicines which can be used without consulting the doctors?
Always I recommend to have consultation, as I told, even individualized medicines approach, Prakriti wise, etc. In general, for example, Amlaki is there. Amlaki, we can use it. Even Guduchi, we can use it. There is Amrita Balli or the what I can call now Giloi. Giloi also can be done. But again, what happens is the body response will not be there continuously. One should not have years together. After maybe 3 to 6 months usage of medicine, body stops responding, and then we need to change the medicine also. Likewise, it goes there. So always better to take under the supervision of the doctor. He will prescribe and he will change when to be changed also. That is ideal. But in general, these are the food plus the medicines. For example, amla is there that can be consumed. But again, I say it body response will be for a time bound period only. It will stop responding for that one. Lifelong we cannot have that.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a detailed answer. Moving further, the second question is, in our day-to-day lives, organic is our first choice for food. But why allopathy is our first choice for treatment? Why not traditional medicines?
What?
So I'll repeat the question. In our day-to-day lives, our first choice in terms of food is organic, always organic. But why is allopathy our first choice in case of treatment? Why not the traditional medicines which are available?
That is, you people has to answer that one. You are adopting that one. We are here to give treatments all. So what is lack of awareness is there now, because though it was very well developed system once it was there, but because of invaders they ruined us. You can see the history when you read. Nalanda library was burnt for weeks. Big library, eight story, I think 8-story library was there. It was burnt out, and most of the books were burnt out. Even now, though I told 8 specialties are there, the literature is not available. We know the names, but Charak Samhita is completely available. Sushruta Samhita is partly available, not completely available. So we lost so much of literature in between because of invaders now. Then it was introduced their system to the colonization, etc. The Britishers has introduced their system. So we lost our glory, and it became as a health tips only. Many people have doubt Ayurvedic science or not, but now only people are realizing. Government is pushing a lot, and awareness is coming a lot. That one now people are adopting. Definitely, the coming years, maybe a decade, the maximum. Definitely, in the main system is going to be there now. It is going on the right path. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. So there's a question posed by one of our teachers. The question is, premature hair, gray and loose skin, how can Ayurveda help? How
In
can
here,
Ayurveda be
yes,
helpful?
yes, it is two aspects are there. One is physiological graying also hair is there. whereas then Prakruti, Pitta Prakruti is Akala Paliter Vyapto, they say Akala Palita Vyapti means early aging and graying is there in a Pitta Prakriti common. If you see there are people are there, very glittering bald head will be there, maybe 35, 40 years, they develop the baldness, they glittering, the completely smooth head we can see there. Because they have the body tendency, the by constitution itself they have there. So for them, they are prone for it. Definitely they are going to get it, but only by taking some advantage. Maybe for example, regular constant oil application, and that too with the Keshya Dravyas, for example, those ones maybe the Bhrungaraja is there. Bhrungaraja is one of the major drugs, and those such drugs if taken, it may prolong it, but totally it can't be made the other. There are people maybe after 70, 80 years of age, they can see the black and very thick hair we can see. The genetically compositions are there. But now because of improper, they are not taking proper oil massage, hair bath, etc. And dandruff is continued. They don't maintain it. Sweating comes. They don't wash appropriately. Such cases they going on early. There we can have the medicines can be given. Hair packs can be given. With all even Triphala can be given. Kushta is another drug is there. Bhrungaraj can be given. So these drugs are there. They're all can improve the hair health can be improved well. But they we had to see the physiological or the genetic composition or they have the pathological means by not following the good regimen they have hair fall is there. That way we have to differentiate and then we can treat it. Not all cases.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering this question. Moving on to our next question. What are the herbs or medicinal plants used for the treatment of blood disease?
Treatment of
Blood diseases.
blood diseases. No, blood disease is very, very broad. No, blood diseases, they not very small one. We need to have a specific conditions. Even ball infections may be there, immunity comes there here, the even jaundice comes here. Like but the very broad spectrum is there. Simply, for example, immune boosters we have immunity. When we talk about immunity, we have ashwagandha is there. Now Eshtimadu is there, Gilo is there, then Amlaki also there, Shatavari is there. So these are the drugs which have immunomodulatory effect are there. So they will be helping, but again suits that one. So whereas Pitta dosha is there, we can't say select. I may select it Eshtimadu. Whereas Kapha dosha is there, I will go for Ashwagandha. Likewise, it should be a condition specific. We cannot have very broad, but these are the immunomodulators are there.
Thank you for such an informative answer, sir. Now, without a further ado, now I would like to call upon Dr. Ashwini Sharma, sir, to give the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Simran. So, at the outset, I'd like to thank you and congratulate you for a wonderful and insightful talk on Ayurveda and lifestyle. I've personally learned so many things in your lecture, and I'm sure other faculty members present here, and of course students, they have also gained some knowledge on this very relevant issue. Sir, I'm myself a very firm believer in healing powers of Ayurveda and always try to incorporate some of the principles for keeping up with good health and well-being. Sir, in your lecture, you have rightly mentioned that Ayurveda is an ancient science of life since time immemorial. Ayurveda, apart from providing various therapeutic measures for diseases, emphasizes on maintenance, promotion of health, and prevention of diseases through ahar, nidra, and brahmacharya. Ayurveda places great emphasis on prevention and encourages the maintenance of health through close attention to balance in one's life, right thinking, diet, lifestyle, and the use of herbs. Knowledge of Ayurveda enables one to understand how to create this balance of the body, mind, and consciousness according to one's own individual contribution, constitution, and how to make lifestyle changes to bring about and maintain this balance. Sir, we would like to thank you once again for squeezing out some of your precious time for this NSS event of the Shivaji College. We are indebted to you for this. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our esteemed principal, Professor Shiv Kumar Sehdev, for extending all support and encouragement for successful conduct of this event. We shall always remain thankful for a proactive and a genuine leader, Professor Mridula Buddharaja, who is the NSS convener of Shivaji College. I would like to personally thank all the teachers involved and associated with NSS in one way or the other for their inputs and background work for this event. I shall be failing in my duties if I don't acknowledge the efforts of our enthusiastic NSS students, volunteers for their tireless efforts for this event and all such events for making them great. I thank all the participants, including teachers and students of Shivaji College and other colleges present here for this wonderful talk. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with our team and our college. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Participants are requested to fill the feedback form, which has been circulated in the chat box. Certificates will be provided to only those who will fill the feedback form. Thank you so much, everybody.